Hello and welcome to another Movie Reviews by Benjamin. Today we're talking about The World's End, coming to us from director Edgar Wright, who brought us Shaun of the Dead, which was about 9 years ago now. Also brought us Hot Fuzz. I'm sure a lot of folks have seen Shaun of the Dead. Not as many have seen Hot Fuzz. I didn't really enjoy that one quite as much, but The World's End is kind of a culmination of everything, and it is absolutely great. Quick side note too, Edgar Wright also did Scott Pilgrim vs. the World 3 years ago, which that film was absolutely amazing. If you haven't seen that, definitely check it out. It's a great time. All the returning cast from all the other Edgar Wright movies for the most part are here. Simon Pegg and Nick Frost, his kind of go-to guys. In the past we've kind of seen Simon Pegg being the uptight sort of always do-gooder sort of guy, a little bit more laid back in Shaun of the Dead, but in Hot Fuzz he was really kind of like a staunch police officer, top of his class, and then Nick Frost is sort of his slacker friend in all these. This time the roles are somewhat reversed. Simon Pegg's kind of a laid-back slacker who had these four friends in high school. The five of them kind of went around their town and tried to conquer what they called the Golden Mile, which you kind of can see in the trailer, where they try and hit 12 pubs, get 12 pints of beer in one night. And they failed last time, so they're back about 30 years later to do it all again. His four friends are all kind of successful businessmen with a regular life, and he's still kind of living like he was in high school with the same clothes, same haircut, same kind of attitude as he had in high school. So Nick Frost is kind of a more business, professional here, and Simon Pegg is just this wild, out-of-control guy. The dialogue in this movie is absolutely golden. It's so funny. Simon Pegg, every time he opens his mouth, it's something funny. They did a great job with this one. I was just kind of leery because, of course, Shaun of the Dead was so great, and then Hot Fuzz, like I said, really just didn't impress me at all, so I was hoping that we could take a step up from that, and they definitely did. Interesting to say, one of his 5 or 4 friends that are with him in this movie is Martin Freeman, who also plays a real estate sort of professional guy, always wearing a suit and tie, and it's kind of funny to see him in that, since the last time we saw him was in The Hobbit, in his little Middle-earth outfit with the dwarves and all that stuff. So it's kind of cool to see him in another movie, get a different perspective on him. He does a great job. Everybody in this movie does a great job. They're all really funny. Funny little cameo by Pierce Brosnan there as their teacher that they had in high school. He's still around in the town when they go back to try and conquer the Golden Mile. When they go back, they, like I said, they're trying to get through these 12 pubs in one night, but realize the town's been taken over by these, what they think are robots. No spoilers here, but they're not quite robots, but once you see the movie, you'll definitely understand. This movie, like I said, is a great time. I laughed dozens of times in this movie. I mean, it's a great time, great comedy, really hit it home, but Edgar Wright has a way of kind of slipping some really serious stuff in underneath all the comedy, and he does here too. Simon Pegg's character is kind of shown as almost as an alcoholic because he's always drinking, and this one's kind of at the very beginning of the movie, you kind of see him in rehab, and he's trying to get in. It's all kind of played for laughs, but there is sort of a alcoholism, midlife crisis sort of message in there too. That you can still have a great time, still have a great life after 40, and still have just as much fun as you did before in a different way. But he's kind of shown as alcohol might be his crutch a little bit, so it's kind of interesting to show that a little bit thrown in there. Of course, like I said, all the comedy's there, but a little bit of seriousness thrown in too. They made this movie for fairly cheap, $20 million US, and then of course right now it's been out for about 3 days now, and it's at $8 million. So they're not quite where they want to be, I'm sure, but I'm sure they can maybe even break half by the end of the weekend and hopefully catch up next weekend. Go out and check this movie out. It is so funny. I mean, it's a great evening time film. Just go out and check it. Of course, the score is going to be kind of there's a few songs that you might recognize, but most of them are going to be like a orchestra sort of thing. So yeah, check this movie out. It's so funny. It's definitely worth a laugh. It is rated R definitely for language, not really too much else, but there's a lot of cursing in this one, so if you're offended by that or you have small children, probably wouldn't suggest it for that, but everything else, this movie is absolutely hilarious. I went to the late showing on Friday night. Not a whole lot of people were in the theater, probably about half full, but like I said, definitely encourage people to go check this one out. I'm going to go ahead and give it a 8.9, which is actually probably one of the highest scores I've given to a comedy before. But this movie is just, it hits home every time. Every time he makes a joke, it's so funny. And so yeah, the actions. Oh, that's something else I did want to mention on here is the action scenes when they're fighting the robots. The fight scenes are so, they're really cool the way they're done, because it's almost like you're flowing from one, there's 5 of them and they're all facing off against one of the attackers, and it's all filmed. I'm not sure if it was all one shot or if it's somehow sewn together, but the way they do it, they'll show one person and the camera will kind of snake over to the next person. It almost looks like it's all one shot. It's a really cool way of doing a fight scene. I kind of like to see that in some other movies too, especially like an action movie. I wouldn't necessarily consider this one an action comedy. It's probably played off more as a comedy, but another little surprise, the action scenes were actually really good in this one too. So really high score for The World's End. We're going to give it an 8.9. I'm not sure what the next film's going to be. Like I said, things are kind of starting to slow down a little bit more on movies. As we enter the fall, we'll probably start seeing some Oscar bait movies. I know Lee Daniels' The Butler's already out. Might try and watch that one if I can. There's going to be some, like I said, some ones that are going to be a little bit more serious. Of course, there are going to be some zany ones like Machete Kills, comes out next month, and things like that as well. So we're going to go from there, and I will continue to be doing these reviews. Tell your friends, check me out. Of course, Facebook Movie Reviews by Benjamin right here on YouTube. Like, comment, subscribe. Thinking about starting up a Tumblr as well for this one, kind of get my name out there a little bit more. So we'll go from there and see what we can come up with. But until then, I will see you at the movies.